Right, so this meeting shall be recorded so we can have it for posterity. And I think now also we have some attendees coming in. Very nice. Welcome, René. Welcome, Jean-Marc. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
It's really awesome to see one of our partners and one of the companies from the past coming together in this way, and also having the collaboration announced so nicely as you guys did. I think we're going to wait like 1 or 2 minutes to make sure that everybody can connect and log in. I always regret not having some elevator music available for these moments. But yeah, definitely fun. Just going to prepare.
So who do we expect? People from different companies, from different backgrounds, from different functions? Okay.
Yeah, so basically we extended the invitation, and hi everyone who's watching. We extended the invitation to not only our partners and current companies as well as alumni, but we also extended it to just the wide world. So anybody basically could join, and we actually have a few participants from abroad, which I am hoping to see also today sometime during the webinar.
No, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to keep it as open as possible.
All means, yeah.
Cool. Okay, I think we can slowly start. I thought maybe we could start with a small introduction of what each of us do, like when we get up in the morning, but also what we do with our current associations, institutions, companies, and so on at the moment, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
I can go first. Hi, everyone. I am Oana, or call me Ria for short. I work for Kickstart Innovation AG, and I'll also be hosting today's session, which will be between fireside chat, interesting discussion, and just plain old webinar, together with Jean-Marc and René Beeler. Basically, for those that do not know, Kickstart Innovation essentially brings together corporations and other organizations in Switzerland with innovative companies around the world across various verticals or let's say topics. For those unfamiliar, and we work around, for example, new work and learning as a topic, smart cities, finance and insurance, food and retail, and health and well-being. And last but not least, we also work with entrepreneurs in companies. Great. I'd like to pass on to Jean-Marc, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you, Ria. Jean-Marc Grant. I'm the director of the Swiss Marketing Society, a classical professional body with around 650 corporate members, all based in Switzerland, Swiss and international companies with a presence in Switzerland, from the very large like Nestle, UBS, to the middle-sized and the smaller ones, covering all verticals. And what we do is basically two things. We are a curator and we transfer knowledge, and we build a community. And the community is largely CEOs and CMOs, so Chief Executive and Chief Marketing Officers, and they come to us to basically get insights, stay in touch, what's new, you know, from a market point of view, from a trends point of view, from an innovation point of view. That's where our cooperation with Kickstart Innovation obviously is rooted. Most of our members are traditional companies, have been in business for a long time. And at the moment, the single biggest issue for a lot of them is people related, you know, how to recruit people, how to retain them, how to lead them. So it's a big issue in the Swiss market that there is a lack of or talent is scarce, and the power has shifted from our side, basically the employer side, to more the market side, the supply side. And the way one interacts as a chief officer or whatever with the staff has also changed. So it's going to be interesting today to find out a bit more about those issues.
Cool. Thank you so much, Jean-Marc, for that overview, and also the the connection with our session today, which is called Lifelong Learning and Leadership Development, and why we're here. I'd like to pass on to René.
Thank you very much, Ria. Thank you for having me or us. My name is René. I'm one of the co-founder of Evrlearn. Evrlearn is really dealing with lifelong learning, as we have a marketplace and a community for it. Why do we have it? I mean, Jean-Marc already mentioned it. There are a lot of individuals, also companies, who are fighting with the consequences of transformation. They know that they have to learn and relearn, but they very often don't know which skills will be relevant for the future, for their career. And also they don't know how to learn those new skills. And that's actually where Evrlearn comes in. So our marketplace is helping individuals to find the best fitting learning opportunities on one side and to build up a relevant skill portfolio for the future. On the other side, you're helping corporates who try to give their employees a structured access to the outside learning world, and also to learn more about future skills. And also we are working together with learning providers all over the world who have a distribution channel and a marketing channel through Evrlearn. So overall, you can compare us with Airbnb or a TripAdvisor for lifelong learning. We have been working with Kickstart, just to mention that, last year. So we have been in the program and got in contact with a lot of interesting companies who are now clients, some of them. And we are also working together with Jean-Marc and his association, and we will tell later what exactly the content is of this collaboration.
Cool. Thank you so much for that detailed introduction. I'm super happy to hear what kind of impact also Kickstart has, or what kind of connection it has with both your companies. And now to complete that, why do you see on your screen basically new work and learning, right, as a name here? So as a Kickstart, basically we also go into the topics of new work and learning, exactly as Jean-Marc and René mentioned and detailed. We're looking for kind of the new trends of the future of work, and we're trying to work together with the partners and companies that join our program for these topics. But first of all, of course, because we are here in the new work sphere, I'd like to address a question to Jean-Marc. So first of all, right, we need to look a little bit at who we have around us. So to tell us a little bit more about GFM, or Gesellschaft für Marketing, you curate a network of C-level executives most often, but these companies are quite varied amongst each other. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the composition of the membership, or what we're looking at, various concerns that they might have, and so on.
Sure, of course. So the companies, the 650 corporates that are members with us, as I said, big, small, medium size, all sectors, but what they all have in common, that they're interested in what's happening out there, you know, very much from a consumer's point of view. What is impacting consumer behavior, new technologies, but always from a business point of view. And obviously at the moment, if you ask me what's hot, it's the metaverse, it's sustainability. Those are some of the key issues that we grapple with. Not so much other issues, you know, like supply chain obviously is also very important, but that's not our core sort of strength. We are really close to consumer issues. And there we have seen the shift from in-store to more e-commerce during the pandemic. So, and we are the sort of honest broker, the in-between, often in-between expertise. That can be academia, it can be whoever has expertise like you guys as well. And we get that expertise as a curator and transfer it to the members in the form of projects, research projects. We publicize, we do events where they get together. So they trust us as an honest, as a non-biased source of information. We don't have that expertise in-house, but we know how to get it, we know how to create it, we know how to transfer it. And at the same time, obviously, if it's done in real life, we also offer an opportunity for the community to meet, to talk to peers, to even competitors. It's totally acceptable. So all the big banks, all the large retailers come together when we do something, because we know we want to support everybody. We don't favor the one over the other. And but even so, with all the consumer issues at heart for us, leadership has become, and new work has become, a topic that there's just, we cannot ignore it, you know, although it's not at our core, but it's so important, so vital to our members that I'm glad we had the opportunity today to discuss it.
Yeah. But do they come up to you and do they say, hi, Jean-Marc, or hi, Mr. Grand? Like the thing that riddles me most, that doesn't let me sleep at night, that would be either how do I become a better leader? How can I lead my company better? Or is it more towards hiring, for example, learning about this world of hiring?
Both, I would say. At the moment, it's very much almost crisis mode, where they say, you know, we don't know where to get staff, how to recruit new people across the board. We don't know how to retain the ones that we have. We don't know how to lead them, because leadership has changed, and our management team is often quite, you know, has a traditional leadership background. And then at the moment, we try to connect them with experts, with people who have that expertise to help them out. But it's just in the last 6 months, it has become almost the single most important issue.
Yeah. Also a little bit uncharted territory, right? How to approach it. Definitely. But a little bit speaking about leadership development here, right? Because let's say it's also an opportunity to refresh knowledge and what it means to be a leader. But what do you think is kind of the best approach in this area? How do you think can we make, I don't know, we develop leadership and make better leaders? And you have to deal with so many high-level individuals, right, on a daily basis through the nature of your organization. So I think it's even more relevant here.
Absolutely. And I think the major change can be summed up from a transactional leadership style. You know, that's a traditional leadership style. I'm your lead, I show you basically what to do and how to do it, and quite operational, quite tactical, and I pass my knowledge on. And about 10, 15 years ago, we saw from academia, I can only mention Wolfgang Jennewein from the University of St. Gallen. He's a leadership expert. And he says, listen, the new way, or the better way of, the more effective way of doing leadership is transformational. So I tell you the values of a company, the purpose of a company, and enable you to get there. But it's more conceptual, it's more strategic, and I want to assist you in that we together get to this purpose to create these values. So away from that transactional, very much in the moment, do, you know, step like a cooking recipe book, do step 1, step 2, step 3, to a more broad conceptual leadership style, where I take my staff, my employees more seriously. They are my partners and not so much my, just the people that have to listen to me because I'm more senior and I'm more experienced. And that's a difficult shift. And it has been coming gradually over the years, but we think in the last 18 to 24 months, it has really hit most companies hard. And now the existing leadership team is still a bit, you know, overwhelmed. How do we now move from what we are comfortable with, the transactional leadership, to I tell you what to do now and I control you, and you know, that's easy, to a more transformational leadership where I give you much more freedom and much more responsibility, and I'm comfortable in doing that. So that's, to me, in very simple terms, the major challenge.
Definitely.
Can I add here something here from our perspective?
Yeah.
Okay, so we really see content-wise, so in terms of what leadership is about, exactly the same as Jean-Marc. And we are working together with leaders from within companies and with their companies. And it's very interesting. I mean, leadership is something you normally learn best by doing. So it's about learning on the job normally. But the job is shifting, as Jean-Marc already said. And very often companies, they offer internal courses also on leadership because they want to promote a certain leadership culture, or they want to make sure that every leader knows the internal processes, like those transactional processes Jean-Marc just mentioned. But leadership really has changed, and not only from transaction to transformational, it also has become much more diverse. I mean, leadership is different if you're working in an agile environment without hierarchy, for example. It's also different in a more and more hybrid work where employees are everywhere, all over the place, at home, at office, and on their way traveling. And there are also totally new leadership roles like coaches, people managers, and so on. And then I think those skills, of course, the best would be that you end up in a role and that you learn on the job. But those really new skills or elements of leadership, you don't learn on the job in internal courses. And here you have to try to find external advice, be it a personal coach, best practice discussions with other leaders who are in the same challenges, or find a fitting learning opportunity.
No, I
Yeah, and I
definitely.
think that I have totally agree. But obviously what makes it even more difficult is if you look at, I've just looked at some of the research done on leadership challenges for the current year, and top number one, wherever you look, is recruitment. Number two is retention. Number three is remote hybrid work. So all these things are, once again, quite operational, short-term, you know, so I have to fix problems. So now I want to be a better leader, but my number 1, 2, and 3 are short-term operational issues: recruitment, retention, hybrid work. So again, I'm not developing as a leader, I'm just fighting fires. And so it's a stretch at the moment to obviously take these short-term challenges seriously, but at the same time also acknowledge that leadership as such has fundamentally changed.
Yeah, no, but also leadership itself, right, is such an unmeasurable skill in a way. So I think definitely there are a lot of challenges there, and also with concepts of leadership education, I think there are quite a lot of challenges and pressures being put on individuals that have to produce content and structure in this area to support, right, leaders in their development, to support with courses there. And that kind of a curiosity that I had also for René, in that sense, have you seen challenges for people addressing leadership education in general, lifelong, the concept of lifelong learning, trying to create also content in that area?
You mean from the provider side, the universities, for example?
For example, yeah.
As I mean, one of the biggest challenges, and that's not only in leadership, it's in general, learning and development and innovation. I mean, the innovation normally starts within companies or between companies. Then there is a need for new skills because of those innovations, and then someone must know more about those skills and be able to train them. So the match between demand and supply of skills is one general challenge. That's something Jean-Marc just mentioned from a company perspective, but the same thing is relevant with regard to the learning market, that we have providers of learning opportunities that really fit the needs of the market. And that's an ongoing process. It's not solved very well so far, we think. And that's also one of the reasons why we have a research project, an InnoSys project, where this matching of the skill needs in the economy and the supply of matching learning opportunities will be researched and probably we come up with better solutions.
And in fact, that issue was exactly why we teamed up with Evrlearn. You know, our corporate members said, you know, the world used to be easy. We just had to have a list of learning courses. So as long as we knew who provides what, it was easy. And we told our employees, here's the list and choose. And then it gradually shifted where what you can do for your skills development grew very quickly. So today, fortunately, there's a lot in the market. So there's virtually anything you want to learn or where you want to develop, somebody's going to help you with your need. But how to navigate, how to first know, what do I need as an individual? What does the company need? How do I match my career development with the company's strategic development? Who can help me there? And that's where our role had changed. We realized we needed strong partners, to support our members. We needed companies like Evrlearn who can give because especially the medium-sized and smaller companies, they don't have in-house resources, but they realize they are the good staff, the sort of ambitious people. They want to continue learning and they need assistance. And if you can't give it in-house, then you need a strong external partner like Evrlearn who can help people. First, the company, what do we need? Then do we have the right people? Yes. How do we develop these people that they stay with us, that they develop their career, that they are happy, and we as a company grow. And so the matching of the skills and the learning needs with who's out there to provide those. So that's not what we cannot do that, and so that but it's important to our members, so we are looking for partners to help us there.
Actually, I see how you're touching on such a sensitive point also for a lot of our partners, right? When you realize that you need the support. Before we go forward, I already see a question. I think probably it's best that we keep Q&A for a little bit later. Just wanted to mention that. Or would you prefer rather to answer now?
I would answer it, as soon as possible.
Okay, let's do that then.
If it's relevant now, let's answer.
Yeah, perfect. Norbert, floor is yours.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thanks, Oana. Oana, actually, what you said before, I quite disagree because you said leadership is hard to measure and you cannot measure it. It's actually what Leadbecker does. We do measure the impact of leadership of people behavior on their stakeholders. And this is quite a very appreciated way from our clients to understand where they are in their leadership development. We don't do what Evrlearn does, actually, so that's definitely let's say a point where we could also think of how to cooperate. We give organizations a clear insight what their leadership impact is, whether it's transactional or transformative, depending on what kind of behavioral skills or behavioral settings they are putting into the system. So this is something definitely want to stress, which is helping organizations a lot, and we can contribute here to the discussion.
Cool, so nice to hear, Norbert. But then I have a question for you. Is what you do easy?
Yeah, it's actually always a good question, because many of the organizations are facing these challenges or these questions whether leadership has an impact or not the first time.
Yeah, I know, right?
But it helps a lot in their discussion about employer brand on the one hand, about the purpose fit, the individual purpose fits the corporate purpose. So in this context, it's really helpful. It's also helpful in mobilizing their people, because
definitely
leadership, or let's say organizational mobilization starts at the front end, where you have frontline managers who are facing where the value is being created, being on the shop floor, in the production, or in the shops, in the retail, or in the sales front.
Thanks so much, Norbert. Since there is no further question here, I think we're going to go on with the talk, if that's okay. But thanks so much for the contribution. Cool. I have another question from Fatima. Would it be okay to open up? Oops, Fatima disappeared. What's the difference between what you offer and the career coaching? I think it's directed to you, René.
Well, actually, what we do is something career coaches need as well. So that's a personal, individual service career coaches do. They very often focus on the current situation, on the goals you have in the career, and then try to find out what the best next steps would be. Sometimes upskilling and reskilling is an important part of those actions that will be taken with a coach. And there the individuals and the coach are lost because as Jean-Marc just mentioned, I mean, the world is changing, more and more content, relevant content, high quality content where you can learn from, also in different formats, videos, books, on-site, online courses. And actually there is no coach that can help you out there. And that's where Evrlearn comes in with an access to that world, but also based on your skills. So it's not only the outside world that we try to help you. It's also the link between this outside world and your skills, your preferences, your goals, your current skill deficit, etc. So it's like an add-on, and there are a lot of career coaches, like private or public, from City of Zurich, for example, who even use Evrlearn as part of their service to make better advice to their clients.
Cool, thank you so much. And now speaking of all the activities that also Evrlearn has, but also Gesellschaft für Marketing, I would like to address both Jean-Marc and René, but Jean-Marc first. How about your current collaboration with Evrlearn? You mentioned before the help you were seeking to answer the burning questions also of the members sometimes. So if you could detail a little bit that.
So it's, you know, so that was always part of our offering, that we said lifelong learning is an integral part of being successful as a company. And whereas in the old days, 10, 15 years ago, we actively offered training courses, certification programs, what have you, we then shifted to a more, once again, being that curator, that honest broker, to being the platform where, on the one hand, we try to aggregate what's out there, you know, to help people get an overview of what kind of courses are out there, then how do I navigate. But again, that was quite transactional. You know, I didn't really know what you had to, as a member, had to tell me what you were looking for, and I tried to match you with a list of providers and courses. And then we realized that was okay for a while, but we had to take it to the next level. And that's where then a partner like Evrlearn came in, where our corporate members, their leadership team, their staff said, I need more help. You know, I need to first know what I need internally as a company, who can help me there to assess my, you know, my strategic needs and what that means for staff development and career development. And then how to do that on an individual basis for my employees, and then how to match that with hopefully the right offerings on the education side. And we never even attempted to provide those services in-house. We said there's good partners, experienced companies out there, and that's where the match with Evrlearn came up. So for us, because we are trusted as a, you know, we don't take kickbacks, we don't take financial incentives. Our members pay us an annual fee, and that includes also some free support and services. And since it is a big issue, we thought, let's identify one or two good partners and then offer and connect them with our members, and they appreciate that. Whereas they wouldn't maybe not have found the Evrlearn themselves. But by looking at us, because they trust us, they know us, we could then be the intermediary.
Definitely, but also for you as a leader, right, for your organization, but also a person to which probably the members also look up to, right? Yeah. And
what we like, you know, it obviously keeps us in touch with our members. We see, okay, look, their business models are changing. The type of people they are looking for is changing. So it keeps us in touch, not just with the output, you know, what comes out at the end, products or services, whatever, but more the internal workings of companies. And you often pick up early indicators. You know, years ago, we saw, like in the marketing department, there was a need for analytical skills, for so-called hard skills, if you want to call it that, away from the softer skills, and it has filtered through to today. The marketing department is often the biggest buyer of IT services in a company. So it's a good early indicator to see the business is changing, the skill set is changing, the needs for changing, but overall at the moment, the biggest issue is really that leadership has to adapt to this changing world.
Yeah, I think definitely being noticed that way. But I have a curiosity now, apart from the reasons for choosing Evrlearn or similar to Evrlearn to help with the leadership education transformation needs that you saw coming up. To both of you, how did you meet, actually? How did you get in touch the first time?
Maybe I can.
René, you help me out if my memory doesn't serve me right, but I think we read a lot about Evrlearn. So we just saw that they are doing exactly what we're looking for, because there aren't 50 companies to choose from, but very, very few. And so somehow, without knowing the people behind Evrlearn, we heard of what they're doing, and it just seems to be a perfect fit. And then one of our members, might even have been a board member somewhere. I think René was on your board or was a early investor or somehow linked to you. And we asked them, that's where obviously we use the community, the network. And they said, yes, we can vouch. It's a cool new company. Go and that's, Switzerland is small. That's how we met. Am I right, René? Or
That's correct. I even don't know what was the contact that made it. I mean, but we found our soulmates. They often find themselves anyway. And I mean, we are quite similar. We are also a curator. We try to help as a non-biased expert. I mean, like the culture behind is very similar. And what we actually do in general, we work together also with other associations. Because as Jean-Marc said, I mean, they care about their members, especially about the future employability of them. And they want to give industry-specific advice on future skills and how to learn them. But like I mentioned before, like individuals and companies, they have their troubles there and are a bit lost. And we were very happy to get in contact with Jean-Marc and his association, because they care about their members, as you just mentioned before. They are really open-minded towards new trends in the market and around it. And they see lifelong learning as an important driver for the future. And that was the basis for this cooperation. The cooperation is content-wise, so we help each other around lifelong learning and marketing. In the very beginning, we set up like an online overview on important skills in the field of marketing, including an overview on good learning providers and courses. So that was the nucleus of the cooperation. I will copy the link to that page, but it goes further, and it's the start of seeing new opportunities to help each other out on the issue of lifelong learning.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Was it a big challenge for you, René, to curate, or was it a new request, or was this type? You mentioned other associations, of course, but was this type of collaboration something new?
No, it was one of the very first collaborations with associations, but we are also working with different ones like Swiss Bankers Association, Swiss Sustainable Finance, HR Swiss, and others. And for us, it's not only having access to interesting clients, because here is quality is more important than quantity. So we really want to find matching partners with the same thinking about the future. But what we do is actually, we get a lot of important insights as well for Evrlearn about future skills in specific industries, about interesting learning providers, the best learning courses on the market. And this information from different associations or companies, we really use in our matching algorithms. So if an individual goes on our platform and tries to find the best fitting learning opportunity, all this information is included in the advice we give on the platform. So it's a really mutual cooperation where we get, of course, interesting partners. They lead their members to our platform. We offer a service they can't provide themselves, and together we get important information that is distributed to the benefit of all users.
Correct. Yeah, that actually leads me a little bit to think about. Could you share, for example, examples of, I don't know, top sought after skills per industry, for example, if there are insights there? This is a question for you, René, but also from you, Jean-Marc. Top sought after skills from GFM members, if that information is available. If you have top of mind.
We don't, you know, that's a bit of a challenge for us, the transparency in the market. So we only hear, you know, individual companies or individual members or asking us for advice. So to get a more holistic picture is quite a challenge, to see which course, and different providers are not too keen to open. You know, we would also like to have a ranking, you know, from ideally from people who have taken these courses. You know, how do you rank the faculty? How do you rank the content? How do you rank even if how much you had to pay, did you manage to have a sort of work-life or learning work and life balance and what have you? But that would be a wonderful kind of overview to help people when they look for the next puzzle in their lifelong learning, to get a bit more transparent information, you know, who's doing what. And so we only have a sliver of just a small insight. There's still a need for basic marketing knowledge, you know, call it a marketing boot camp, call it marketing 101, whatever. And then obviously in the last couple of years, digital marketing has become a big issue. People didn't have the skills, so they had to look for courses in that arena. And so it has, if you want to call it digital, has been a big driver in all of that. Innovation has been a big issue where, you know, Switzerland is high. We know it. We are not mass market. We are high quality, but also tend to be high cost. So you have to be innovative to defend your market share. And so the skills were often not there. And so innovation was an issue. But again, that's not the total overview.
Yeah. How about you, René?
I give my answer in two parts. First of all, what Jean-Marc just mentioned is something Evrlearn is already providing or working on, like giving really advice on also on the quality. We are a curator, so we choose providers and their learning opportunities. We don't put just all of them on our platform. And there are different quality gates for that. I mean, it's our professional view on one side. It's the view I just mentioned from association corporates on those providers and learning opportunities. It's this opinion they don't publicly tell everybody, but in the background they tell us, and we can use that for the platform. And third, there's still a possibility to review courses on our platform. And with a growing number of those reviews, we get an additional information as well. With regard to the skills, your question in the beginning, I don't see a trend with regard to an industry. And I think this is one of the major mistakes that we are thinking in industries, although every industry is very diverse. I mean, in banking, more people are working in IT than in banking functions. You have HR people, you have project management people. And the question is, what is relevant to those people within those organizations? That's a very individual question. And that's actually where we try to help on this individual level. What we see also in terms of people using Evrlearn and choosing and booking course on our platform is that a lot of people across industries are actually investing in soft skills. It's not that everyone is booking a digital course, be it a basic course or something advanced in blockchain or AI. There we have a growing interest as well. But it's really still invest in your soft skill, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and so on, because they, and actually us as well, we believe that even in a digital world, those type of skills will have a growing importance as well. And that's what we already see in the behavior of our clients.
Yeah. So essentially, from both our sides, you're seeing this sector growing and growing, of how to get the right skills to the right people at the right time, right? So in this respect, I could say that also a little contribution from us at the New Work and Learning area in Kickstart is that we also see a lot in the discussions that we have with our partners and stakeholders and so on, the growing interest in bringing skills forward, and also even building entire cultures and organizations around this concept of lifelong learning, right? And making it almost like a prerequisite. Like, for example, you get hired as, I don't know, a PM or an IT person, and still you have to have the growth mindset, the learning mindset, the fail but move forward mindset, right? And this is really amazing because I think we've seen this growing so much more during and just after the pandemic. I feel that everybody's so tired of all the skills that they've been doing while stuck indoors. But I'm seeing definitely a new wind, like a refreshing wind. So I'm also super happy to hear from both of you these kind of views from both, let's say, consumers, right, or seekers for such services, but also providers of skill building and lifelong learning tools. So that's really amazing. I think slowly I would be thinking about just a sort of advice that you would give to companies or individuals out there looking for continuous improvement, right? I know it's a struggle for all, and sometimes you have to link it with whatever skills you had in the past or what type of employees you have right now as a company. But for continuous learning and development, what kind of advice would you give companies and individuals out there looking for this?
For me, if I think of my personal career, the best, the time where I learned the most, when my manager at the time, part of his incentive was also to make sure that his team was every year developing themselves. So when he got his, annual review, his manager would look at him and say, what have you done for your team? How did they, attend courses or whatever? So he had a real driver to make sure, because it's nice to talk about these things, but then comes the daily business and all of a sudden these things are forgotten. Whereas if you put them even in your performance review, I thought that was a very powerful way of ensuring. And it then becomes basically a self-fulfilling prophecy that, I want to do it. And obviously also then the managers push you, they say, listen, lifelong learning is not just a one-way street. It's not just for you, but also for us as a company, because we want to have people working for us who develop themselves, that they can grow with us. And if it's part of our we might have a formal assessment program or whatever, I think it's worth institutionalizing these things.
So this for companies in that sense. Cool. And for individuals, more or less? If you think
René,
about
you want to go?
Well, I can quickly also answer the question about the companies and then go over to the individuals. I totally agree with Jean-Marc. I mean, we see working together with companies, those that have learning as part of their culture, and of course somehow sustained by processes, so that thinking about your skills, about your professional goals, etc., that this discussion is done regularly. Then of course people will really work on their skills, and it will be much more effective if they go and follow a course or whatever. But my advice to companies, I mean, I think Jean-Marc already mentioned it in the very beginning. I mean, my advice is don't invest all your money in recruiting new employees. I mean, if you go to a New Work conference or to a HR conference, 80% of the providers are some recruiting companies. because they want to help this lack of skill and employees in certain fields. But I think you should invest in in lifelong learning of the employees you already have. This is more efficient. And it's also very relevant in terms of employer branding. I mean, research, that's not my opinion, research shows it that company that is helping employees with lifelong learning, with future employability and the development of skills, for example, through Evrlearn, they will retain and attract workforce much better. So it's very short-sighted to see that you're lacking 10 people in department XYZ, versus thinking about how can we move existing employees into these new skills. We are, for example, working together with a large employer in Switzerland, and they have in a transformation project in the IT, where they try to help everyone who is in that organization to learn the skills that is needed after the transformation. And that's also from an employer branding perspective, very powerful. And I'm sure it's very efficient because they are already there. They just have to learn something versus spending a lot of money in IT systems, digital, AI-based recruiting, and so on. I mean, there are just an amount of people out there. There's quite a war of talents. You don't get those people or at a very high price, and you really should think about spending it otherwise. So that's
another
Another
issue that we see is lifelong learning is not, how can I say, evenly distributed, you know. So there's a few people who attempt to develop themselves a lot, and there's a lot of people who do very little. And so that's not great. So if I'm the company, I say, well, ideally, I would like to have most of my employees do their bit, you know, so that we can, together, that we can grow. And again, you need to support that process. It's not going to happen by itself. That the ones who are not so keen will try to find excuses why not to do it. And the ones who are totally into lifelong learning might even overdo it. So it needs a bit of tweaking. And so at the moment, often we see the extremes, too much on the one side, or, well, not really too much, but a lot of interest on the one side and very little on the other.
We see exactly the same, Ria, just to add a short comment. And that's a problem for those companies. But we also see that like these 80% of employees who are not yet investing a lot of time in lifelong learning, it's not because they don't want to. Some of them, they are prone to fight off every change in life, of course, but others, they are reluctant because they don't know which skills they should improve, or they don't know how they can learn those new skills. Maybe they are scared of the consequences of following a course on with regard to time, money, the family situation, and so on. And so transparency, giving the right information is very helpful to activate that part of the workforce.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, the points that both of you made me think about. So you have on the one hand side, the individual that is specialized and has a career, continuous career, and the individual that is a generalist, so that we often see this kind of opposition happening, right? But at least in our view, lifelong learning is about acquiring just larger sets of skills to complement each other. So as you said, you know, I think in the same job, even you can acquire all of these skills and build towards it. And also probably the employers can offer not only making learning as part of the job, but also making space for it, right? Active space during the day for it. Cool. Now, thank you so much for answering all my questions and discussing all of the topics here. Really appreciate it. I would like to ask the audience if there is any question that you would like to directly ask either Jean-Marc or René. And please don't be shy. Either raise your hand from the bar below or ask away in the Q&A bubbles. I see a little bit of silence. A lot of, oh, there's one. Norbert?
Yeah, hi again. Like the discussions a lot. So just want to add also that, of course, the learning need to arrive in the daily workflows in the daily business. It's not so helpful, we see with our clients, to have any kind of learning remote, like go off-site and then return to work. That's one thing. And so it must be little bits and pieces, digestible in the daily work. And I also like the approach that you mentioned, to institutionalize it, yeah, to make it like, it must be a mix of let's say voluntary, playful elements, plus there must also be some kind of accountability, especially for leaders, to implant learning and to enable their people. So just also confirm that from our side, it's definitely the right approach.
That's amazing also to hear sort of from a fellow involved in the new work area, right? And dealing probably with a part of the same customers. Cool. Any response from you, Jean-Marc or René? Any thoughts on
Just
that?
that initial comment of Norbert, you know, the way you learn. During the first internet craze at the late 90s, early 2000 years, I was involved in a e-learning company that obviously burned all the money and went bust. But still, I think today, after the pandemic, we know it's, once again, it's going to be a hybrid model where I can do a lot of my preparation for a course online. Then I want to have an intense phase where I meet faculty, where I meet my peers, usually face-to-face if possible. And then there is an ongoing support or building on that knowledge by, once again, most probably digital means. So I think there we have also taken a big step forward, because as we all know, it costs money and time, and how do we spend it most efficiently?
Yeah. Very nice. I think that's becoming even more relevant right now, as the movement is basically accelerating so much more. Pandemic era, I think if this would have happened in 2030, now it's happening a little bit earlier. That's the only difference. Cool. I also have a question from the audience, or maybe, yeah, from the audience, or maybe Norbert wanted to still say something with a hand up.
I think that was from before.
Yeah, if nobody else is there, I can add this one more thing as well. Yeah, which is I lost it. It's funny, I lost it now, but it was connected to the previous comment as well. If it catches me again, then I'll be back. Okay, sorry guys.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
There is a question, Ria.
Yeah, there is.
From Aniko.
Yes, exactly. There's practical tips and best practices for leaders in moving towards transformational leadership from transactional, exactly what you were talking about previously. Maybe
I have two inputs from my side. It's not only from my professional view, but also from personal experience. One thing is that, as I said before, I mean, leadership, you're learning on the job, and also learning different types of learning styles is actually on the job. So I would suggest that you try to seek environments, even within your company, where you don't have this hierarchy and this power situation between a leader and an employee. So, for example, you move more towards a project management function, where you, of course, you have this project organization, but it's more, I would say, horizontal within the organization. So you don't have this power stuff, not anymore. That's one thing. And the second thing is that you really learn, and that could be an external course, for example, elements that are soft skills that are relevant for this transformational leadership styles. And that's more elements around coaching. So coaching people on the same eye level, and to learn those methods and to integrate them in your own leadership style.
Because often we are not even aware of our leadership style. You know, it's unfortunately, leadership is something that you often don't learn formally, but as you build up experience, you get given management and leadership tasks, and you copy other people or whatever you think whatever you're doing is the right thing. And so I would also find out, hey, what's my own style, do a 360 review with your team, whatever, to see where do we stand at the moment. And there's no one size fits all. You know, some environments, they say this transactional leadership style is okay, but it's definitely not the future. And it's in high performing teams, it's not the best way to lead. And then find out what is it all about, transformational leadership. It has been around for quite some time, so there's literature, there's experts who can share their knowledge. And then if you're keen as a leader, make an effort, take a course and take the first steps, inform your team, have regular reviews, that together you embark on that journey.
I can definitely imagine someone well into their career as a leader, let's say, and then at some point thinking, wow, my leadership style is transactional, and now I would like to make the shift towards transformational. I could definitely imagine the challenges happening there. To think about, even if it were me, I'd probably think, but what's wrong with this, right? Definitely. Thank you so much for your insights on the last questions that we received. I think Norbert has his hand up again. The question must have come up again.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Cool. There's actually a great study out there. It's called The Most Engaged Employee in the World from the Harvard Business School. You might have read this. It's really beautiful. It's about Barbara. Yeah, it's a persona. Her name is Barbara. And it was really nice how they described it. And they also follow actually your notion, guys, that says the most engaged employee is just around the corner. It's in your office. Yeah. So go ahead and approach her and develop her and let her rise and shine. And yeah, so totally aligned with what you said, actually. And it's a beautiful video as well and study. It's really entertaining to read.
Cool. Thank you so much. I think that's an amazing kind of anecdote to have as a finishing note. Thank you so much, Norbert. Cool. I would like to take then everyone, if Jean-Marc and René have any closing words for now.
No, from my side, thanks for the invitation. Thanks for all your interest. And I think Norbert's was a perfect way to end.
Let's just never stop learning.
Definitely. Well, we should hashtag that.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you so much, everyone. The session has been recorded, so I'll share with everyone that attended today and also with you, René and Jean-Marc, and thank you so much. And feel free to distribute to just the most motivated employee in the world.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
This event, Ria. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.